Hey guys, it's Max. We just got in Apple's new MagSafe accessories, and today we're gonna find out and tell you who should actually spend $50 on this new iPhone 12 MagSafe case, and we're gonna be testing it out and comparing it to the previous case and how well your MagSafe charger will work if you don't spend 50 bucks and you go for one of the suggested alternatives that we'll be talking about. Now, I bought and I will be using this new transparent case. And that is gonna show off that really bright blue new color on the iPhone 12 that we have coming in just 2 days now. So make sure you guys are subscribed. But with this clear case specifically, there are 2 issues that we will be covering. But first off, let's take a look and I'll give you guys my first impression. So right away, we see this little band where the magnets are held and this little aligning magnet. And it's interesting that I can feel it on the back here. So there is actually a little cutout for the magnets, but it's not completely flush. Before I test out how strong the magnetic connection is, I want to point out a couple differences compared to last year. First off, the camera bump is slightly larger. We stack them up like this. It's not a significant difference, but you could tell that Apple did increase the camera bump. One of the lenses got larger there. And another interesting difference is these buttons. As I'm pressing this little side button, the new one, the new $50 one, actually is a lot softer, so you have soft plastic inside. The old one had that as well, but it was much more firm, and it made it harder to turn on the phone and adjust your volumes. Now, the main reason why I bought Apple's clear case is because it stays clear compared to some of the third parties, which we'll talk about in just a bit. Now, another interesting difference is that the old version wrapped around the phone way more, and since Apple's cases are really hard plastic, I actually got a crack in it shortly after I bought it, which was a big disappointment when you're spending 40 bucks. Now, if you're spending 50 bucks, it's interesting that the case itself is way more rigid. It could be because of the boxy design, but the edges do not wrap around anywhere near as much as the old one. There's still a tiny bit of a lip, but I'm guessing because of MagSafe, we don't need such a strong lip there, and because of that, this new one is gonna be much less likely to crack than the old ones. The last thing I have to point out before we test out MagSafe and if MagSafe will work through a non-MagSafe case is that the bottom of the new case is still cut out on the clear version to allow the phone to go in easier compared to all the silicone options that are now completely sealed off for the first time, and some of the much cheaper third-party clear cases that also will give you better protection on the bottom. Let's grab our MagSafe charger now and we'll test it out. And by the way, Vadim has a video coming for Apple's master plan with MagSafe coming out tomorrow, so make sure you guys have those notifications enabled. And right away, that was a very solid connection. Oddly, very satisfying how it aligns. Let's see if it works just as well. Yep, no issues, because we don't have any extra magnets in the cable to line up here. That's for other accessories. Let's see if I get it halfway on. It's still not going on. There you go. So you have to get it somewhat close, but any quick little connection like that, if you're trying to attach it quickly, if you get it close enough, it'll just move over to the side, which is nice. I'm a big fan of wireless charging. I wirelessly charge most of the time, but one issue is at my nightstand, I can't charge my phone and use it at the same time. So if I want to use it in bed and my battery's low, I have to go find a different charger. So this thing is going to solve that issue because, as you guys can see, we can actually spin this around the cable anyway. So if I'm holding it this way, I have the cable coming off on the left-hand side. I can use the phone without an issue. This way, bam, you spin it, align it exactly how you want. You can charge, and now charge very fast at 15 watts and still, be able to use your phone, which is great. This is the main reason why you're gonna be spending 50 bucks on an Apple case is for this MagSafe convenience, whereas last year, people bought them just because they wanted an Apple branded case. Now, what I'm curious about is how well does this MagSafe band, same one as in the iPhone, work if you buy a regular case? So since we still have a few days until our iPhones get here, let's simulate this. I'm gonna put this smaller iPhone, now it's smaller, into the previous iPhone 11 case, and let's see how strong our connection is. So the connection is still there. It still snaps into place, but that is actually surprisingly much weaker, and it is flush against each other. So there's a chance that the iPhone might have stronger magnets than this. I don't think so personally, because in MKBHD's video, his wallet did not stay on that well, anywhere near as good as this MagSafe charger is staying on. So yeah, through that, you just pull the cable a little bit and it starts coming off. To be honest, I wasn't expecting it to be this weak through a relatively thin case. Let's do a hang test there. Interesting, and I know there's a lot of thicker third-party cases on the market. I'm guessing that if you buy one of those third-party cases that are thicker, when most are, than this iPhone case, you're gonna have a harder time using MagSafe and not having it disconnect. Look at this, I just push a little bit and it starts coming off. And let's check out how it is without your thin case, just with the MagSafe now. That is a solid connection. So now I understand why Apple is putting these in all their cases, because that is a much, much better connection. And this is the reason why you're gonna be buying a MagSafe branded case. Now, there are some third-party alternatives that also feature MagSafe, but I really wonder how strong that is. Based on MacRumor's video, the OtterBox case had a sticker, like a magnetic sticker on the inside, and that's a thicker case as well. So that makes me wonder, how strong is that connection? Is it anywhere near as good as this one? And I have to be honest, even though it's weird to say, MagSafe is one of the most exciting things about the iPhone 12. Not only how convenient it is, and I don't think a lot of people realize how small this is when they look online. Here's a Mophie one, and this is a very slim and small wireless charger. This came out when wireless charging came out. Apple is selling this one right now. Look at the difference here in size and thickness. The new MagSafe one is tiny. It's not gonna take up a lot of space. It looks clean. And then look at the difference in thinness. And then with the Mophie, I guess maybe you could hold it in your hand and do that. I mean, I've never done that before, but potentially you could. But with MagSafe, it's gonna be much more convenient. And I have to ask you guys this, how often do you put your phone on a wireless charger and then it doesn't charge because it's not lined up perfectly for the coil? For me, that's probably about 2, maybe 3 times a month. Either the battery and the phone wasn't perfectly lined, so the battery didn't charge up completely, had a very low charge, not efficient, or I wake up and my phone is dead because it was a little too far off, and now that is not going to be an issue. And now let's answer the main question: who should spend 50 bucks on this case, and who should buy one of our suggested alternatives that are linked in the video description? If you're somebody, first off, that's buying this MagSafe charger, I would highly, highly recommend buying an Apple branded MagSafe case or one of the alternatives if they're anywhere near as good with its magnetic connection. We just saw that through this thin case, the MagSafe connection was much, much weaker, and it doesn't hold on, it doesn't snap into place anywhere near as well. Now, also with that, if you're somebody that's gonna wanna use other accessories that are gonna be using MagSafe, such as pop sockets, car mounts, other chargers. In the future, we might get gimbals, selfie sticks if you're still using one of those. MagSafe is gonna be very useful for a ton of accessories. So if you're buying a case, you're gonna keep it for a year or more, you wanna keep that in mind. Even if you don't want wireless charging, there's gonna be a lot of other accessories. And with that, which of you should save your money and buy one of our suggested cases for between $10 to $20? Well, first off, if you don't use wireless charging at all, you have no interest in that, you're not somebody that uses different accessories, you're just basically keep your phone in your pocket or in your purse and you charge once at night, then you might not need MagSafe. And then with that as well, if you're somebody that does want a clear case, but you don't like this kind of a look over here and you're not gonna use MagSafe, or that's not that important to you, and you want extra protection on the bottom of this clear case, there's some good alternatives that are thin and they're clear and they give you extra protection as well. And there's one extra reason not to buy Apple's MagSafe case, especially the clear one, and that is scratches. This case right here is a year old and we have a ton of scratches on it. It's very ugly, and that's because Apple uses this hard clear plastic. It's very slick and it's very prone to scratches, where a lot of the alternatives, the clear ones especially, that cover up the bottom, they're using a more rubbery material that you get a little bit more grip from, and it's much more scratch resistant. All right, guys, let us know, are you willing to spend $50 for Apple's new cases now that they have MagSafe built in, or maybe you weren't willing to spend 40 bucks before? I want to hear your opinions down in the comments section below. Make sure you guys have those notifications enabled because you guys don't want to miss out our future videos. We have Apple's master plan for MagSafe coming out and our hands-on comparisons in just 2 days. A lot of great content. Thank you guys for watching. Click that circle above to subscribe. And if you want to check out the buyer's guide on which iPhone you should buy, it is right over there. This has been Max, and I'll see you in the next video.